lively episode.
That's what the podcast used to be like.
Yeah, you and me just bullshitting.
Yeah. All right. See if we go live here, Nenny. Maybe in like a second. Says we're live. Says we're live. We're gonna be live. Let's do this.
This is the OK Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag. You hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
What up? What up? What up? Welcome back to the Okayest Hunter podcast, coming at you from all over Wisconsin. I'm in the studio. Derek's in the basement, cutting up some loins, or what do you got there?
Yeah, we got some. These are just some back straps right here.
Greg's in the kitchen cooking.
Yeah, buddy.
We got West Bend in the house, Lake Mills in the house, Oconomowoc in the house. We got
It's
COVID
not-
in our house, so I figured probably not come over here. And Greg wasn't going to come anyways, that son of a bitch.
No, when I got 2 more deer to get cut up, so that's what we're doing.
What are all the nicknames we're giving you? Greg the Slaughterhouse Tubbs?
Is that what you got in there now?
I don't know. I just made it up right now.
That sounds pretty good.
Greg Doe Tubbs?
Whatever works for
I
you.
don't know. I don't have any other ideas. Good evening, David. Hello,
David.
folks that are joining us in the chat here.
Rabbit homesteading. I like that one.
That's pretty neat.
Does that mean there's rabbit? I'll bet he raises rabbits, or she raises rabbits.
I did a logo for a rabbit ranch once. Rams Range Rabbit Ranch, something like that, a long time ago. It was the better logo I've ever done. I was really impressed with it.
That's a real tongue twister.
Yeah, it was strange. And I was like, I didn't know rabbit ranches were real things.
Well, I mean, you've probably been to the Bunny Ranch a few times. Or the
I
Squirrel
haven't.
Ranch.
I haven't. No, yeah, Squirrel Ranch maybe. But anywho, we're brought to you by Half Rack. You guys use any Half Rack stuff tonight? Greg, can you go sit on a stool in there or what?
No, actually, I have my half rack Gambrel rocking and rolling here.
Oh, I forgot to get Derek one of those. Sorry about that, Derek. I dropped the
We had,
ball.
Way
we
to go,
had
Derek.
we had a tie down strap over a rafter in the garage for the bow one, and then the last one she got the old kids play set over the right next to the swing between the blue swing and the red swing. That's where this one was hanging. So
Jeez, Greg, how do you like that Gambrel? Gambrel?
Dude, I tell you what, like I rigged a set of just double pulleys and it worked well. But the mechanical advantage on this thing, because it has
Pulley.
4 pulleys, it has 4 pulleys in it. I can pull a deer up with one hand.
So that way you can hold your beer in your other hand.
That's right.
Gotta have your
well,
priority
I'm going to be
now.
doing that because my father-in-law Peter asked what I wanted for Christmas, and I sent him a $80 remote winch for the garage. So next year, I'll be tipping them back, sending you guys a video of that.
So you're gonna get Warren as a sponsor then, or what?
Oh no, it's not quality like that. This is like some Harbor Freight bullshit.
Hey, you know what? It still beats hoisting it up by hand.
Yeah, I might be needing that pulley system after all.
The old Harbor Shake. Ah, shoot.
You guys are great. My deer's done. I didn't do what you guys are doing. Derek,
Well,
you got 2
we'll-
kids, dude. You've done it.
We'll leave the childish comments to ourselves for that.
Yeah. Dude, what did we we posted something and people are like, oh yeah. Tyler put out a post of like the line at the butcher shop. And people are like, you're not a real hunter if you're not processing your own deer. And I'm like,
Sorry.
is that where we're drawing the line now? That if I don't process my own deer, I'm not a real hunter? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
the guys who barely have time to hunt now have to also find the time to process everything on their own. Don't get me wrong, I like doing this, but it's hard to find time.
It is hard to find time.
Well, time is of the essence in some cases too. If it's too hot or like circumstances can be dicey, you know. I would love to butcher my own deer. I did it. I've done it. I suck at it. Like I suck at everything else. So it's a. You want to talk about? I put the process in processing. It's a fucking process.
Yeah. You'll have that on those bigger jobs.
Yeah, and everything's a bigger job when I'm around. If it wasn't a big job, I'll make it a big job. But no, I'm glad to see Greg using the half rack stuff over. That's pretty cool. You guys listening don't know who Half Rack is. They make accessories with a soul. I would say you can go to halfrack.com, use code OHP. Also Latitude, I think they're just wrapping up some of their sales. I've had a number of people message us on the old OKS Hunter Instagram or Facebook or whatever channel they're using to get a hold of us, saying just pulled the trigger on my Latitude, took advantage of some sales. Like people are using discount codes. Good to hear. Good to see.
They had a pretty good sale on their 3-pack of carbon sticks. I saw it was looking pretty good. A lot of guys were buying that, it seemed. I know we've all put them to the test this season, and I really don't want to go in the woods without them after using them this year.
What, we talk about give and take, and yeah, there's some things that are they're not perfect. I don't think there's anything out there that's perfect, right? Anything in your system, unless you have a way of tweaking it or modifying it to make it perfect the way you want it. There's give and take with everything. These are lightweight. Do they grip 100% the best? They're not as good as some of the other sticks out on the market, but they definitely grip good enough. I think they grip good enough.
Yeah, I haven't had a problem with the grip at all. I mean, we were testing them here too. You could see, like,
yeah, I mean, they slide around a little bit. You can make them slide around if you kick on them just right, but I can make an old Lone Wolf stick or an XOP stick slide around too if I wanted to. So it's just a matter of how you're using it and know where to grab and pull on them and where you shouldn't.
Yeah. I'll say the stackability, because there's no obstruction. It's just all flat surface. They just clunk, 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 they just stack. There's nothing to it. And I did use the Good Sit Mobile bungee cord thingamajigger.
That bungee cord mod is really nice.
Yeah.
It's so simple, and it seems like it wouldn't be a big deal, but gosh, does that make your life just 10 times easier when you're going to stick it on your stand or stick it on your pack? 10 times easier. All of Brian's stuff is just well thought out like that.
Yep. Brian did a great job with that.
Well, he saw what I was trying to do without his stuff, and he's like, yeah, I was using like a ratchet strap or some pull down thing. And he's like, don't do that. I was like, oh, okay. Because I didn't know, because they're like, whatever. Anyway, code OHP over there. Go wild. Head over there. Tag your trophies if you got them. Post your stuff. Use your points. Save some money. Code OHP will help you out at the checkout. Same thing with Spartan Forge. We just had someone message me or the channel again a couple days ago. They watched the YouTube episode with Bill about like distilling an E-Scout through Spartan Forge, and because he just joined from the app and didn't go to the website. If you want to take advantage of that 20% off, it's significant. 20% ain't nothing, especially since the prices are going up. So I would say join on the website. Then when you log in from the app, you'll have that discount come through for you. But just a little bit of housekeeping there. I think I got everybody I'm supposed to be talking about here.
Hey, Bill had a really good season this year, didn't he?
Man, did he ever? Those are some gnarly. The one looked like it had 2 racks on it.
Yeah, he got some pretty cool looking bucks.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Happy for him. Good to see people like him tagging. It's so funny because like you and John, I think didn't Johnny Stewart get a nice one this year too?
Oh yeah.
Like you'll see me rocking the same buck photo on my Facebook profile for the next couple years until I tag another one. Like you can always tell when someone gets a nice deer because it's like, oh, finally time to go and update the old profile pic.
Right.
It's like the same one for a couple years. It's like, well, clearly Eric hasn't gotten anything since 2022, you know. Anywho, I don't know. Topic wise tonight, late season stuff, muzzleloader stuff. Like we're in Wisconsin, we have listeners all over the place. So curious to see what everyone else got going on for. I wouldn't say it's late season yet. It's not, but by the time people get around to listening to this, if they're a couple weeks behind or what have you, and the holiday mad dash is coming up and all that stuff, might be cool to get this one on the playlist to have some late season stuff. Greg, you're a late season kind of guy who, I mean, last year you pushed it to the very last day.
I wouldn't say I'm a late season kind of guy.
You like it and you love it and you want some more of it. And
yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to go out and bow hunt in the snow?
Yeah, well, you could have shot your buck last year late season, but he dropped his freaking antlers. That's how late you were at it.
Yeah, well, what do you do?
I don't know.
What happens when you screw up on the first attempt and the second attempt was a layup shot and he's missing his antlers? Oh well.
Smart
so
buck.
will you have access to that same property again this year where you were hunting?
I do, but that heavy racked, that real heavy short rack. I don't know, what was he, a 10 or a 12 pointer? He got picked off this year finally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a guy got him with a crossbow. One of the other guys that hunts that piece of property.
How does that make you feel that he got with the crossbow?
Whatever, good for him. I bet that guy is happier than heck because that guy had some health issues. I think that guy earned that buck.
Here.
He went through some things in life, and he finally got out and got to do some hunting and found some happiness and went out and killed a nice buck, a nice old buck. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's going to be another buck that moves in. There's enough does over there. Will it be as big? I don't know. Will it be bigger? Could be. It might be a bunch of little guys running around, and maybe I'll have to scratch the itch on the old release finger and whack a small one. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I mean, you got to have some handles to stir that stew.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know. We talked about the gun stuff last week a little bit, but
Talk
Derek,
about opening weekend. Yep.
yeah, you put out a really nice post. Both of you guys did. Derek, yours was really great. You talked about how you had one of the most successful seasons you've ever had, and yet you didn't tag a buck. You want to talk about that for 2 seconds here?
Yeah. I mean, every year seems to go by so fast, and every season you get so just, I get like almost just stuck in a rhythm of like, gotta get on, make the most of my time, go, and just planning and scheming. And I'm always looking at the next spot and what's the wind doing. And I really just didn't have time to kind of like slow down and really look at everything that happened in my time this season until Saturday night. So this past weekend, second weekend of Wisconsin gun season, the wife granted me permission to get out. I'd hunted opening day Saturday, and then I hunted like a half day Sunday, and then I headed home. So I hunted like a day and a half. My dad got that nice buck, and I helped him get that out. I still had a little itch that needed scratching. I still wanted to get out for a little bit of time for gun season. So I asked the wife, could I go Saturday? And she said, yeah, go for it. She had some stuff to do anyway with the kids. So it was actually a spot I sent Eric earlier this season. He was kind of contemplating where to go, and I sent you a pin, and I was like, well, I've never been here before ever, but I really like this spot on the map. I think it'd be good. It's far enough in where I don't think it's going to get too much pressure. So Eric never got around to that. He was hitting some hot sign in a different area, and it ended up paying off pretty nicely. So I decided to go try that area out. And I got up super early. It's like an hour and 10-minute drive from my house to get there. And I wanted to get back in there because it's like a 1.5 mile walk. It looked easy, but a pretty far walk to get back to the spot I wanted to. So I got there. Nobody was there. I was the first one in the parking lot. The only thing was on the map, the parking lot looks like it goes back into this property and there's a spot to park, which there is. But for gun season, they must gate it right at the road. So it added like 3/4 of a mile to the walk. So it was a pretty good hike, but I just walked real fast and ended up getting into this spot. And from just like my headlamp in the dark, because so many times you have it envisioned, I like envision it in my head what it's going to be like, what the train's going to be like, what the brush is going to be like. And in my head, I was like, it's going to be way more grown up than what it shows on the map. It's going to be thicker. I'm not going to be able to see as good. But as I'm getting in there and looking with my headlamp, I saw one doe as I walked in, kind of right in the beginning. I was like, all right, there's deer in here. This is good. But the train was like almost exactly what I was hoping it would be, even though I thought it was going to be worse. I was like, man, this might work out really good. And then on Spartan Forge, I could see there was like 3 big trees along this wet ditch. And there's pretty good water in there. I found a place to cross it. So I crossed it and I started getting closer to these big trees. And I'm like, holy shit, these are big trees. The first one that I had marked on my map, the one I wanted to get in, was a cottonwood tree. Felt like I was in like the Montana river breaks. This freaking cottonwood, I swear the trunk was about as big as a truck bed. So I was like, well, no sticks are going into this sucker. But luckily there were some branches and there was like another tree next to it. So I was like, well, you know me, I'm a monkey. I'll make this work. So I had 4 sticks with me, no platform, and my saddle. So I climbed up about 14 feet on the branches, put my sticks up, 4 sticks with aiders. I was probably 40-some feet up into this tree and I could see forever. It was awesome.
Yeah, when you said you're 40 feet, I'm like, what the What do you mean? That's like really high, dude.
It was
Jesus.
super high. It was super high.
With a gun too. Oh man,
But
brutal.
I could see this whole creek bottom, and it was just really nice terrain. It worked out great. Sunrise was beautiful that morning. Long story short, I just totally forgot that we were talking about a totally different thing.
No, it's all good.
A nice buck ended up coming out around 7:30, and I totally botched it. I missed the shot. I should have waited. I was impatient. I thought he was gonna blow out of there, and I didn't want to miss my chance. So I wasn't as steady as I should have been, and I shot. He bounded into the brush. I sent one more downrange and just immediately knew that was so stupid to take that shot. I should have waited.
We talked about this before with you and me, how like you're like, I'm taking shots. And I'm like, I wish I had more of that, like go, you know?
Yeah. Usually everything with gun season and just with the spots that I typically hunt in general are so thick that it's like you don't have time to think about it. You know what I mean? It's like more of like a reaction thing, which I'm like, I feel like I'm good at that. This was like he's standing in the open. He's like 160 yards standing there. He's watching a doe. I probably had all frickin' day to just sit there. But like I'm trying to get steady. So like I'm facing the tree. He's behind me. So I'm turned in my saddle and I'm trying to like lean on this and lean on that. And I'm trying to get steady. And I never got steady and I still forced it, which is just so stupid. But I forced it and I messed it up and he got away unscathed. So I was kicking myself in the butt. Later that day, I went to a different piece of public closer to home and ended up shooting a doe. And while I was dragging that doe out is when I started to have like time to slow down. Here it's like getting dark. I started thinking about all the drags that I had been on this season. And I got to take two of my best friends down to Illinois. They both shot bucks. One of them shot his best buck he's ever shot. Got to be a part of both of those recoveries, both of those drags. Got to take my dad to a spot. He shot a buck, got to drag that out for him. And being part of like all of your stories, Tyler's story, you know, just being part of it, not being in the drag, but then Eric's story, like it just made me realize like, holy cow, like, you know, everyone just sees those buck pictures that are posted on social, but it was been one hell of a season just with the memories made and like the people that I got to enjoy these moments that meant so much. It was just like a really good moment dragging out that doe. I just felt so accomplished, not with like what I've done, but just like the experiences that I got. Like that's what the season was about to me in that moment. And it was like really fulfilling, really fulfilling. I really enjoyed it. Hey, bud.
That's awesome, man. I, you know, put in a good chunk of effort for what I would do for a season and got myself into some good stuff and had some misses and I wouldn't say totally botched opportunities, but just opportunities that were really hard to succeed in terms of like killing. And when I got that 8-pointer in Prairie du Chien or Grant County, where we're at with the gun, I could almost feel that voice saying, not the biggest buck, but, and I was like, F that. This is a great buck. I love this spot. I love the time that I had with my dad, my friends. I love going to this place. It's way more than it really is. Way like I don't think I could have like put my finger on the fact that it's way more than the antlers. Like I know we say that, but that was like a testament to it. Like I got into the hunting spot. We had the cameraman with Cam, and I'm like telling him about that spot. I'm like, man, this is like literally my spot. It's on public land. It's not my spot, but like this tree. I've sat in this tree. I've sat at the bottom of this tree for almost 14 years. I've been coming to these woods in this spot, in these pines. And it just means so much to me. He's like, dude, have you ingrained, like etched your name into that tree? I was like, oh, that would have been a cool idea. Like etch my kills. Cause I've killed so many deer out of the base of that tree. Stories on top of stories, on top of stories, on top of stories, far before I, even knew what I was really doing hunting. And, that spot's really special to me. So when I got that buck, I was super thrilled. I was like, I'm so happy. I'm just so happy. And I worked so hard this bow season to try to do something where I'd get another, what could have been 150-inch deer. And, oh, well, it didn't happen. But this one did happen, and I'm proud of it. And so I think it's just important to have that moment to be present, reflect, and stay positive about things and, like, appreciate the opportunity you have. Now I got meat. My daughter's happy. It's awesome. It's freaking great. So no buck shame, man. No buck shame. And like, honestly, like we shame ourselves the most, I think. You could easily chalk your season up to being not successful because you didn't kill a big buck. you know, and instead you took a moment to reflect and appreciate the stories that came out of this year. And I think that's important.
Yeah, I think your story with just like that sacred spot, like I think everyone has a woods that when they walk in it, it's just like you have some connection to it on a
Yeah.
spiritual or emotional level. And I think like, you know, it is your mindset and how you look at it. And that's a lot like what your mantra has been with like OKS Hunter, which is why I thought it was such a cool thing. But a gentleman named Casey Legis just commented a little while ago. He's had he's a high school buddy of mine. He's had an outstanding season this year, killed 2 huge bucks, one in Kansas, one in Iowa. I mean, if I would have killed that buck this past week, Saturday morning, I'd be singing probably a different tune. Yeah, it's a great season, but oh man, the strategy, the tree I picked, you know, like
Yeah.
I would have probably missed out on like that sentiment that like it took me being quote unquote unsuccessful with like harvesting the buck to like really like gather what is important and like take that and move on from it.
Yeah. I do miss the gratifying piece of knowing you've done everything right, but you can do everything right up to a degree and still be proud of that. And I think that's what I'm probably most proud of is like, I did 98% of things correctly to be within 10 feet or, 10 yards of what I would classify a public land monster. And that's good enough for me, honestly. Like, getting out is good enough for me. If I'm going to be quite frank.
Yeah.
Be honest. Greg, I don't know. What are your thoughts? You laid the smackdown on 3 doe, and I only saw 3 shells. So I assuming you were a one-shot kill kind of guy with those doe, which is pretty impressive, man.
Well, like Derek said, if you can find a way to steady yourself and pick your shot and take your time, things go well. When you rush it, when you force it, when you try to just flick one in there, I've never had it go well when I do that. So, yeah, Friday I cleaned up. I finished harvesting or filling the rest of my doe tags. So obviously I got one opening day out on the public in the Cattail Marsh, and then I got the other 3 on the piece of private, which butts up to the public. It worked out well, I brought one of my trekking poles out there. It must be the lucky one because that's the one I used last year to do the exact same thing. Deer came out a little bit closer to the middle of the property, and I got an area where I can shoot and I got an area where I can't. If it's past a certain point, I'm not taking a shot because there's houses over there, there's a road over there, and there's all sorts of people walking around. You can hear them, kids playing and doing their thing. So it's pretty close to being residential there.
Yeah, where you and I were hunting for bow during the peak of the rut there, when those little bucks are chasing those does around, you could hear all sorts of neighborhood activity going on.
So, with a rifle, you got to be careful, and I try to be as careful as possible. So if the deer got past a certain point, I wasn't taking a shot. Well, a couple of them made it past, and they really weren't what I wanted to shoot. And then the nice big doe came out, and he kind of presented a nice neck shot. So I like to take neck shots because I don't tear up as much meat, and they usually go down right away. So they come from one property and get on this property, and I don't want to have to try and knock on doors and get permission. So I like to knock them out right away. So I did. And then another medium-sized deer was wandering around, another doe, and I picked my shot at that one and dropped that one. And then I did like a quick little interview saying, yep, I filled 2 more doe tags. And then another one jumped out, and I'm like, do I or do I not?
How much work do I really want to do here?
Yeah, let's just get it done and over with. So I shot the 3rd one, filled the rest of my doe tags, and fulfilled my obligation to the farmer. And
Would you say you were in kill mode, like I felt as though I was?
Yeah.
Rocking rounds, baby. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Like a zombie sniper, man. When I start doing that shit, it's amazing.
These hands are already going to be bloody. What's another one?
That's good.
So
Tony Cordero asked you a question, Greg. He said, where in the neck do you aim?
yeah, I just kind of picked probably closer to the shoulder. The only problem is when you hit close to the shoulder neck area, You got to worry about bone fragment, and you better get the hide off right away to get the coagulated blood out, and which I did not do. So I had a little bit of loss in that shoulder, but not terrible. But the neck is pretty much shrapneled. So, but yeah, right where the base of the neck and the shoulder, you can go a little higher if you want to, but kind of center, because if you hit too low, you're going to go right through meat. You're going to go through meat and windpipe. And I could show you on a head here, but I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, we don't want to get kicked off of social media.
Yeah, I don't want to get us kicked off social media, but I have a head here showing where the windpipe is. Because yeah, you could thread the needle right between the windpipe and just through the muscle material, and you'll never even phase them. It'll feel like a flesh wound, but you got to hit them in the bone in order to break them.
I got mine in the neck. The buck I got. I think I also got him not in the neck.
Yeah, I don't know. I like neck shots. So you get a good.
How far was your shot, Greg? Did you say?
I kept her under 200 this year.
Under 200. That's a poke still, man. I was at 100 yards.
Yeah, I think I was about $150. It wasn't terrible. I'm pretty comfortable with that. I zero my rifle for 200 for that spot because I have.
You have the range. You can.
Yeah, I have.
Fun, honestly. I think, obviously it's a different. I think gun hunting and bow hunting are basically two different sports with the same ball. Like,
I wouldn't even call it a sport.
Well, I'm not saying they're sport. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying they're not the same, like at all. They're
not the same activity.
Like
I mean, you're hunting and you're observing, but at the same, you have more range with the gun. It's
but that
not
range
not as intimate with the gun, if you want to call it that.
Right. No, but I also I love bow hunting more. But there's things about gun hunting that I also love, and I started as a gun hunter before I was ever a bow hunter. And when I started as a gun hunter, that was just hunting. I wouldn't have thought that bow and gun were that different, or I just thought I'm hunting and this is just a weapon I'm using. Like, I didn't realize bow hunting was its own intimate thing. But the things I love about gun hunting is I kind of like that range.
Yeah, it's it's payback for all the faraway deer that you could not get close enough to with the bow.
Yeah, helps you understand.
There's plenty of guys out there that like are bow only. I don't even gun hunt. I love the gun hunt, man. I really do. I think it's fun. It gives you so many opportunities to like try different things. Like, think about the bow hunting stuff with like Zach Fehrenbaugh and Hunting Public guys. Like, go out and stalk some deer. Like, that's freaking hard. It's really hard to do that. But with a gun, it's way more feasible for people to try tracking or try still hunting, or like it affords more opportunities in my eyes. And I think
shared a video.
I don't know. I think it's good.
Derek, what video did I share with you where a guy he tracked a deer up a mountainside and shot it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
I watched those.
Like something you would do,
I love watching those, man. Tracking videos from the Northeast. I've got all the Benoit books. I've got the Hal Blood books. I love reading those. Those are cool stories. For anybody who's not ever researched tracking, I mean, what a cool way to hunt. It's the only way to hunt where there's a big buck. You know where he is. He's at the end of the tracks. You know where he is.
Yep.
You just gotta hunt him down.
You just got to catch up to him fast enough.
Yeah.
And we had ideal. I mean, I don't know if it was totally ideal, but we had okay conditions for doing that for the last day here, to go out and track.
Yeah, it was the fresh snow, right? Yeah, we had a little
fresh snow. I couldn't make it out with family obligations. I wanted to. I got pretty excited about seeing the snow for the last day of gun season.
In Shooter Buck Club there, our buddy Colin Brown was out doing some tracking. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No, I haven't looked.
I think I saw it, but I haven't looked into it too deeply yet.
Yeah, he tracked, I think he was tracking some does because he only had a doe tag left or something. So he was trying to get on some does doing the tracking style.
Good practice either way.
Absolutely. You can learn a lot following deer tracks.
Yep.
That's cool. Hey, guys, you want to take a call from Noah?
Sure.
Of course.
Not working. We're not going to say no. Hey, what's up, Noah? You're live. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. How you doing, bud?
Oh, gun season was a disappointment again.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Shit. What's going on, man?
Well, for some reason, opening weekend up north, I haven't seen deer on my property for the last 3 years.
Oof.
Last 3 years.
I'm not.
Are they not there? Are you just not seeing?
know.
Are they not there? Or are you just not seeing
They're
them?
just not there that time.
Yeah.
So this year I was out with my buddies again. We have deer camp up there now. This is the second year, and I can definitely tell you my buddies are the okayest hunters. So
Well, let's hear a story.
so evening hunt of opening day. I'm up in my saddle up on a ridge. It's like maybe 50 yards up a ridge from where my cabin is, but still get plenty of deer moving on that ridge. I have my buddies. I have one of them set real easy walk down on my main food plot, and I have another one up in my climber up on my solar plot up on top of a hill. So we're all sitting there, not really hearing much, not seeing anything until about 40 minutes before end of shooting hours. I hear some crunching behind me. I'm like, oh, it's a deer. So I kind of start turning around, and lo and behold, it's my buddy on my food plot walking down the trail. And so I shoot him a quick text. I'm like, dude, what's going on? He texts back like, oh, I had to take a shit.
Part of the course.
Nice clearing in the
morning
woods.
coffee.
So I tell him like, okay, dude, just do it and go back out. He's like, no, I don't want to make a bunch of noise for you guys. I'm like, well, you already did that, and worse comes to worse, it pushes them up to us. But
So no one got
so
anything
he
though, huh?
doesn't. No, so he goes in, he stays in, and I'm like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sneak out of my stand like 20 minutes before in the shooting light, and I do, and so I sneak out of the saddle, I walk down the main trail as quietly as I could, and then I sit right underneath a downed tree with a clear line of sight down the trail right onto the food plot, about 100 yards. And lo and behold, this little spike comes right up the trail from the river, stands broadside to both me and the stand my buddy would have been in. So
You want that
for me, a spike is not something I'm shooting on my property. Just, I'm trying to grow some bucks up there.
Yeah,
But
no,
it was
that's,
it was funny.
So, well, I was walking in to that spot I was talking about earlier on the episode just a moment ago, and I'm like, "What's all that white stuff on the ground over there? Like, there's not been any snow. Like, what is that?" And I'm walking up on it, bunch of freaking toilet paper. I'm like, "Oh,
Oh,
I hope I didn't step in shit somewhere."
I have to start shit over here.
That was kind of funny. I got to say, guys, I did not poop in the woods. I was able to successfully poop at the Verbo before we left every morning, and I am not even joking. I drank an exorbitant amount of Swamp Donkey dark roast. I just threw it up on the screen, and I didn't know this. Tyler just shared with me today that no one was able to buy the coffee on our site yet because, well, like it was broken. Like the setup was not working. So a couple people tried to buy it, and they're like, "Hey, I can't buy this." So we reduced the price, and I think it's fixed now anyways, but it's pretty effective. I'm really happy that I drank that to poop before I went to the woods.
It got things moving, huh?
It really did. It really did. So maybe you can give some of that to your buddy Noah as a gag gift. Like, next time, dude, drink this before you go to the woods, please, for the love of God, or something.
Stop crapping in my food.
Yeah, I'll have
cup.
to do something about that.
Oh, it's good to hear. So
But
you're
yeah.
gonna get out much more for muzzleloader or for late season bow, or what's the rest of your season gonna look like here?
It's going to depend how the weather holds out. I'm not really one for freezing my butt off too much more. We'll see. I still have a ton of doe tags and obviously my bow buck tag.
Okay.
Might go out for the holiday hunts later down here.
That's cool.
Other than that, it's pretty much it for my hunting season. Now just waiting for the ice to come over.
Yep.
Get out some ice fishing.
Ice fishing's on deck. Yeah. No, that's cool, man. Well, thanks for the call. Thanks for the update. Thanks for the silly story.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
All right, bud. Have a good night.
Have a
Good luck
good one.
with the late season, buddy. See ya.
Yes.
Yeah, stay warm in the late season. I don't have a lot of late season bow hunting gear. All my warm stuff is orange. A lot of comments on social about wearing giant blaze orange onesies. People are like, you don't need that much orange. It's like, well, have you ever hunted public land in Wisconsin during gun opener? I feel like you might want to wear that much orange. Just depends. Well, you guys, you wearing a shit ton of orange or just like a vest and a hat or what?
I'm wearing a vest and a hat.
Yep, vest and a hat, and I have my bow hunting clothes. I got some cold weather gear, so I rock that, and I just wear my the appropriate amount of orange to be legal.
I've never really had like good orange stuff. You know what I
Me
mean?
either.
Like,
Yeah.
It's always been just cheap Fleet Farm stuff, and I always got cold. So I bought good bow hunting stuff because I'm bow hunting a lot more than I'm gun hunting, and figured
Absolutely.
a cheap $10 vest over a nice warm jacket was probably the way to go for me.
Dude, that's super smart because so going back to starting as a gun hunter, like I had gun hunting stuff. That's what I kind of like invested in.
Yep.
And because I was always hunting in cold sits with gun. And my buddy Mike, he just gun hunts, and I've tried to get him into bow hunting. It's just he hasn't really bit. And I was like, he's like, I need to buy some new blades. I'm like, dude, why don't you buy some really good camo and then just throw a blaze vest on top? So that way, if you want to get into bow hunting, you're all set there. You didn't listen, but that would be the way I would recommend to go, depending on like where you're at in your hunting journey, so to speak. But Derek, muzzleloader, you're gonna try to get out this coming weekend?
Yeah, so I still got my my buck tag. I got a couple buddies who still have their buck tags. I'm working on tubs to come with us too. I stopped at Cabela's tonight. I got some sabots. I got my white hot pellets, my primers. I haven't shot my muzzleloader in probably 3 years. I got to shoot it this week and get prepared. But I got I got some really good buddies. Some of my best friends coming down for Saturday. We're gonna do some drives. So our buddy Bo, who we Ghost Bucks guy I go down to Illinois with, he's been talking about muzzleloader drives. He really likes the muzzleloader season. So he's like, dude, we got to do some drives. We got to do some drives. So we're trying to figure out where to go. And I was like, guys, I got some spots down here I would love to try to push. So my good buddy Adam that I went down to Illinois with, he killed that good one down there. Bo, our buddy Dave, possibly my buddy Ben. My dad might come down and be a stander for some drives, and I'm working on,
you're working on me
tubs here
and tubs. What?
So
and you can can you use your bow with muzzle?
Yeah, you can use your bow.
Because if you're driving and stuff like that would be kind of wacky. But like, if I could bring my bow if I don't have a muzzle loader, right?
Dave said he was going to bring his bow probably.
That's cool. And I have so like, can you use you can't use your archery tag during that, can you? Or
yeah, you can.
Because I use my, so like these are questions coming from someone that's never muzzle loaded.
Yeah, you can use, because both seasons open. So I can fill my
use your archery tag. I have not used my
I walk out in the woods right now and I'm legal with all the orange and appropriate equipment and have the licensing.
Yep.
Say I walk out there with a gun season tag, but I have my bow for a weapon. I can go out there and fill my gun tag.
I have a bow buck tag, not a gun buck tag.
Also, if you read the regulations, Eric, bow season.
What? Yeah, what's that all? Yeah,
bow season is open the entire year.
Yeah, that I know. So that I just wasn't sure. But like, if a certain hunt is like, if this hunt's happening, then I know you could bring your bow gun hunting. I guess so. That's a thing that people do during.
Yes, you can still fill your bow tag with your bow during a gun hunt.
Greg, no, sometimes that I ask questions for the listeners and not just me. I do stuff to,
Come on, Eric.
I do have a legit question here.
Yes.
And I feel like I know the answer, but I don't know for sure. So muzzleloader season, a firearm season, is party hunting still legal?
Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Like I have doe tags for obviously for Washington, Waukesha County, but my buddy's coming from up north. Like they could buy some, but I was like, if we can party hunt, I'm not going to tell them to go buy some doe tags as long as they're all going to be together.
I don't know what the distance is regulations wise, but if you're within earshot,
sound.
Yeah, if you're within earshot of said person who shoots deer or needs to tag deer or whatever, I don't know if it's within 500 yards or something like that.
Yeah, we'll definitely be within that. I mean, we're just doing some little pushes and wind bumps and stuff like that.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
So Cool. I'll probably double check it. No offense, but I don't want to get
No, you
anybody in
can't.
trouble.
No, you need to look at the regulations. Don't just take someone's.
Yeah, you have to. You got that's a wise thing to do. You can always call someone too at the DNR, but are you guys going morning, afternoon, last light?
We're
I imagine
going.
once you push,
we're
then
gonna
it's
go-
kind of it, right? Like you're
Yeah,
not
we're
gonna,
gonna go. We're gonna go basically all day. I got a couple different spots that I in my head I'm dying to try. It's just gonna be all based on the wind. I don't like.
you gonna do some scent bumping.
Yes, some wind bumping for sure. That would be ideally what we'll do so that deer come squirting out, hopefully the sides. And like when you wind bump, those deer can get up, in front of you and they like to circle back into the wind. So actually, sometimes if you kind of do some serpentine, right? So your wind's drifting this way, the deer get up and they try to circle upwind. If you're moving, sometimes you can get them to circle back up in front of you. I'm not a big fan of the hooting and hollering drives.
No.
They
They're
pinpoint
running
you, especially the bucks. They pinpoint you, and they just either sit tight, let you walk by, or they'll just circle through the drivers. So we'll probably do some wind bumps and maybe even some still hunts, just like spread out and still hunt through stuff. Try to get one moving in front of somebody else. These guys are all pretty damn good hunters, so I think we got a chance.
What's the temp this weekend? It's like 10 degrees out today. It's the coldest day I think we've had yet.
I think it's supposed to warm up a bit. I saw like a high of 38 on Saturday, which would be pretty beautiful.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
If you're moving too, it's not terrible.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll keep her
Face
moving.
off, but
Yeah, so we got a couple nice thick spots that I think these deer are probably piled into a little bit over gun season. Even with, I know a lot of drives go on in the area we're gonna go, but I mean, unless you got a lot of guys and doing it well, it's pretty hard to get these deer to where you want them to be. So I think there's going to be some good bucks left in there.
yeah, drives can usually kind of get them out of there. If you got enough people to spread out a bunch, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so we're excited to try that. It'll be fun. Hopefully, maybe a new tradition that we start. Be kind of cool if it was something we did every year.
Yeah, it would.
I'm interested. I'm a little nervous to bring it up. I might not. I might just. I don't know. You guys know. Derek, is your wife getting more cats? By the way.
Oh yeah, cat update. We've been cat free all season. No new cats. I gave the approval. Ashley wanted to get our daughter a kitten for Christmas because she doesn't feel like she has a cat that's hers. Gus picked out all the other ones basically. So I was like, all right, we can do one kitten.
Using your daughter against you to get this next one. Okay.
All of a sudden, she's like, well, Gus really wants one too. Maybe two. No, one kitten. She keeps going.
Stand strong.
You got to get a pair. You can't just get one.
Yeah, you can just get one.
Shut your mouth, Clark.
Because then when the one dies, you have one funeral and that's it.
As long as your wife still likes, me, then we can keep doing this. If she decides to hate me, then this whole thing is no more an operation. I'm going to take her side. I'm sorry. You got to get two cats.
He's
I
a
gotta
logistics
play
guy.
the long game here.
Eric, you got to grow a pair, is what you got.
No, I'm just being very tactical in my approach to the podcast here. If I got to win Derek over, I got to win his wife over.
There's a lot of strategy, just like hunting. How are we going to do this, guys? How are we going to make this happen?
You got to know where the does are to get the
If
bucks.
anybody has any good anti-cat strategies, I'm all ears.
Well, I
If
got
you're listening
I got some anti-cat strategies.
Oh, yeah. But I wanted to say, if you're listening to
Starts with the number 2 and it ends with the number 2.
boy, we are inside baseball here. There on our hunting show. We'll see how it goes. There's season 1 of last season or whatever on YouTube and Carbon TV. On our interviews, Derek, I don't know how this even came up. It was like, well, I have this thing with cats, and every time I go hunting, my wife decides to get another cat. So, little inside joke for everybody here. But what was one of the? I noticed in the comments here, guys, a lot of people are talking about like losing their parents to cancer, and I'm not reading them all deep because there's a lot coming through here. I'm trying to run a lot, but that all stemmed from your initial message about just slowing down and appreciating things, and you never know how much time you have and who you're going with, and just circling back, and not to get morbid or anything, but like hunting is deeply personal and emotional and spiritual. It's way more than what we might have for like a goal standpoint. It's important to remember that stuff. See some of these comments come through and make me freak out a little bit inside. I couldn't imagine losing my dad or something like that. It would just be really, really hard. So
Yeah, I guess like and we talked about this on the podcast last week a little bit. I think I did at least, but like I really felt special on that opening day with my dad.
Yeah.
He and I got to share. We both got deer a couple of years ago. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. We both got deer on an opening day, which we'd never done before. We got to drag them out together, and that was like a big moment. That was really cool. We got to share the day, dragging out bucks, which was awesome. And then this last time, my dad's back has been really deteriorating quickly, so he can't do the things that he once did, and it's like finally kind of catching up to him, and like a realization of like, hey, you know, age is here, like things are different. And it was kind of hitting him, so I dragged him along to the spot. And when he shot that buck, you know, I was the hype man. Yeah, you know, we did it, we got one. And then it was like, Dad, I'm gonna gut it for you. You know, you've got so many of mine, so I got it. And then I was like, Dad, I'm gonna drag this buck for you because you drag so many of mine. And it was like, it was the full circle moment, right? Like it was like, you know, the passing of the torch, kind of like, you know, things have changed, and like Dad isn't capable of doing what he did before, and like you got to kind of accept it and like cherish the times that you have left in the woods. And like,
well, now that you're a parent, Derek, and how you think of your kids, and that you brought Gus with you, and how proud you are to have him out there, and how proud you are of him when he does different things and accomplishments. From your dad's perspective, that must have been a really, really proud moment for him. So one part bitter because like he can't do it. So there's like a pride issue with that because like people have their own pride. But then the proudness of seeing you do it must have like balanced that out to make it a pretty damn good moment for him. I'm willing to bet.
We had a good day. There was lots of smiles and lots of laughs. And I think it was, I mean, I'm not like painting this to be like this huge, like monumental, like Dad will never hunt again. I don't want it to be that. But it was just like, you know, like it just felt different than it normally did a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know. Anyway, so sorry. I just want to acknowledge some of those comments. Those are some pretty deep comments coming through here, and I wanted to just pay them some credit here. But yeah, lots of comments coming through. Gene Gunther didn't see any deer. Gun season, got out when I could. Started treatments last Thursday. So yeah, they're going through some stuff. Rough week. Just saw does when I hunted opening day. Gun didn't fill any buck tag. Try again next year. Always love gun hunting. Reminds me of my grandpa. Like,
heck yeah.
You know, I love our audience, man. I love the people that listen to our stuff. I feel like they're one of us. All you guys listen, all you guys and gals. So it's pretty cool.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, I honestly really do. It's fun. It's fun that we get calls, we get comments, people get to participate. That's not every podcast. And I know we're not always talking about the latest and greatest gizmos or gadgets or the most hardcore tactics, but we kind of every now and again we like to loosen the belt here and just have a nice chit chat. No guest. You guys are just cutting up meat in your houses. It's pretty therapeutic right now, actually. You guys are probably like in the zone over there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry if I'm distracted.
I love it.
Not to slice off a digit.
Yeah.
You did that on live deep live. Well, then Derek's gone.
It's an artery. Oh, Greg, what are you doing with that deer?
It's supposed back.
You teaching that thing ballroom dancing?
Yeah, that's right.
It'll fly across the screen. Holy crap. What are you guys gonna? Have you guys cooked any of that stuff up yet, or you got any plans for like? What's your favorite first meal to cook?
I actually did some backstrap. It wasn't from this year's deer yet. I was using up some of my old stock, but I had 2 backstraps left in the freezer, and those got made for Thanksgiving. We didn't do turkey. We did venison backstrap and a really large chicken.
Nice.
Yeah. No, feel like crap after you eat a big Thanksgiving turkey. So didn't want to feel like crap and wanted to do something different. But it's been tradition at my house. I don't know, the past, we'll say 8 years for me to cook some sort of venison for Thanksgiving. That's one of the dishes. So
Awesome.
When you guys brought food over last year for our like season finale Wives Tell All episode, everything you guys brought over was amazing. And it was really cool to have you guys cooking up on the grill. That was pretty awesome. I don't remember Greg, you had some garlic stuffed cream cheese
tenderloin.
Tenderloins going on. Derek, you had bacon wrapped something shababs. Dude, everything was just so good. There's so much meat in the house that night. It was out of control.
If Greg ever texts that he's making stuffed tenderloin, I will come from wherever I am to have. That was so good.
Yeah, that's what I made for Thanksgiving this year, and there was no leftovers. In fact, I almost had to arm wrestle my brother-in-law, but he neglected to take me up on the challenge. I won. I got to eat the last piece off the plate.
Nice.
Hey, nice slab of meat cake.
So my father-in-law got one of those, not a Blackstone, but like one of the grill things.
Yeah.
I think he got a Pit Boss brand one. I don't know which one theirs is. I think that's what he got because it's ceramic, so it's easy cleaning. I think so. He's been just happier than hell with that. I've not even seen it yet. But I got to pick up. So I took my deer to the butcher. I got all my fresh cuts already, so I got to go pick that up maybe tomorrow. I think I'm gonna cook some steaks on that. I want to try it out. So I might go over there and cook a dinner for everybody with some venison.
Sweet. I took the inner loins, the tenderloins from the doe I got with the bow there right before gun season started. And I had, when we were in Italy this past summer, my wife and I went on that cool trip. I had bought, we went to like an oilery, and well, they did a whole bunch of other things, but at the oilery, I bought some black truffle olive oil.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
And I've just been using that sparingly to like marinate meat once in a while, and I don't really cook it with anything else. And I marinated some of those inner loins. I don't really need it, but like I threw a little bit of that truffle oil in there and let them sit in the fridge for 2 or 3 days, and then I just touched them in a pan with some onions, some garlic, and those things were yummy.
How was it getting that stuff through customs?
No issues, actually.
Really?
Yeah, they had that. I mean, like that must be the normal because like these kind of shops, like basically it's all set up. They have chocolate, they have truffles, they have all your pastas, your different spaghetti sauces. Like this is what they do is they just sell it for like. So I think if you get like large quantities of it, they question or.
Yeah.
But like the kids bought a bunch. We were on it was a student trip. So some of the kids bought a whole bunch of stuff, but we didn't have any issues at all bringing it back.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than spending all your hard-earned money on some cool stuff you want to eat when you get home and either find out it got smashed in your luggage or
Customs is enjoying it.
Just decided to commandeer that.
Because that looks a little too good for you. We're going to keep that.
Yeah, we're going to keep that one.
Tom DeCray said his cousin thought venison roast was brisket. When she found out it was venison, she felt violated. I've always wanted to do that to people. Actually, specifically my mother-in-law. I just want to make some venison and tell her it's not venison because she's like, oh, venison. And have her be like, well,
I'm going to tell you right now, the easiest way to do it is just do a pot roast. Get a cheap cut of beef to put in there and do your pot roast. Whether you're using the football roast or whatever out of the hindquarter.
Yep.
And then just it doesn't have to be a real expensive piece, just with some beef fat on it and throw it right over the top, season it up like you would a beef roast and put it right in the crock pot and put all the usual accoutrement with it. Yeah. And rip. She won't know the difference. In fact, the first time I did it for my mother-in-law, I didn't tell her it was venison, but she knew the meat was different because the grain is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it has flavor, unlike beef, where it really doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. Especially if it's store-bought beef, it definitely doesn't have a whole lot of flavor.
So
that's why you got to season the hell out of it. So put it in there with a beef roast, and they won't know the difference.
So I'm not trying to turn this into a cooking show, but I'm just curious since we're talking about it and since we got Greg here, who's pretty damn good at all this stuff. So Greg, when you're processing, you processed a ton of does last year, processed a ton of venison this year. What do you end up doing with most of your meat? Are you grinding it? Do you have a smoker? What do you like to do with your meat? Are you doing steaks and roasts almost?
So I try to keep as much of this stuff as prime cuts as possible. I don't have a smoker. If I smoke something, like the fish that we caught on Lake Michigan, I'll smoke those on the Weber grill.
Yep.
No big deal. It's not hard to do, but I'm not set up to mix and grind my own sausage. I have a meat grinder. I can grind burger. You know, I can get some beef fat, which I have some in the freezer right now. I can grind some burger with it. But if I'm going to take so much time, you know, like those front shoulders yesterday, I did those out the one deer. It took a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to break down a front shoulder because there's so much.
A lot of silver skin and ligaments. And
Yeah, there's a lot of nasty stuff in them. So if I'm going to take that kind of time and cut it up and get all that stuff out of there, I'm not going to throw it in the grinder. I might as well slice that up thin and use it for fajitas, use it for other dishes, you know, that require chunks of meat. So maybe we're going to do some venison stew. We'll do, you know, anything that you want to use chunk meat for. That's what I try to do with it.
Good question.
And then with like Eric, I'm assuming you get some of yours ground into burger.
Yeah, and quite a bit of it actually, but the big reason for that, or one of the big reasons, is just because my wife is not a huge fan of venison. I think she kind of ruined it for herself. Like, we had our first house, I was out ice fishing, and she was going to be a really nice new wife and make me a nice pot roast. So when I got home, my buddies, we could have a nice hot meal ready for us, venison. And she took a whole roast and cubed it up, which you could just put the roast in and, you know, let it do its thing. Well, she didn't know that, and the only meat she was going to grab was the roast. So cubing that up took her a lot of time and got blood all over the kitchen, all over her. She didn't like the smell. She felt like she was a part of a murder scene. And ever since that day, she's kind of like proclaimed, I don't like venison. Then, to make matters worse, when I shot the buck on the wall behind me here, the wide guy, it was a quartering 2 shot from up above. So, of course, he got some gut on the way out on the exit. And one of the steaks I cooked up must have been covered in bile. So when I cooked up in the house, it smelled like gut. And so that didn't help. So she's had some pretty poor experiences with venison. So the best meat for her is the ground up stuff.
Yeah, and you got young kids.
Yeah,
obviously.
or whatever.
It's literally a convenience item. You pull it out, you thaw it, you get it.
Spaghetti, chili,
Spaghetti, tacos, burgers, chili. The kids like that. Here's a steak. They like that once in a while, but the other stuff is versatile while they're little, you know?
Yeah. So I don't know. Just excited to get back. I'm like trying to still for 3 years, 3-ish years, 2 years, somewhere in there. I've been trying to learn the cast iron skillet and how to do stuff. And now that I got the pit boss on the back, I'm just cooking out there so I don't stink up the kitchen, get grease flinging all over the place. And it's, you know, I can use it like a stove. When I open that compartment, the flame comes through. It can burn pretty hot. So I like cooking out there on the cast iron. I've enjoyed doing that quite a bit. There you go, Greg. Not a girl. I want to hear drinking the bourbon over here, but yeah. So I don't know. That's kind of the thing that we'll be doing. What's post rifle season deer movement look like for you guys down there? I don't know. I think after the Blaze Orange Army comes through for the 9-day gun season, it's like feels pretty scarce. But also, like, Doug Duran made a post today, like all the big bucks came out the day after everything was done. It's almost like they knew. I don't know if that's true or not. Deer pretty.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure lifts. Deer start to come back to their normal movement. I got a cell camera out still, and it just blew up. So, but that one's been all mostly, you know, right at closing time type movement. So those deer got to be coming out of the marsh. If you're sitting over the marsh, it's probably going to be better now that things have quieted down. They're not hearing as many gunshots. There's not as many people running around chasing them through the marshes and things. It's going to turn around. We don't have as many people hunting muzzleloader here either, you know.
My experience with the public around anywhere south of like Highway 64 is really like, yeah, the deer start to get back to their normal patterns pretty quick, or like normal movement quickly. But what I've always noticed is there tends to be a pretty major shift, especially if cold weather rolls in like this. So they'll go back to their normal movement patterns, but where those movement patterns happen are going to be wherever the easiest food source is, which in my experience has many times been private land.
Yeah,
it's near the public. So like I've run cameras on last year, I had cameras on probably 7 or 8 different public pieces in spots that I thought would hold bucks, and I could not get a buck. I couldn't even locate a buck. I ended up locating like 1 2-year-old and a couple of year and a half year old bucks was all I could find on public all over. Like it was just really difficult to find an antlered deer.
There's a guy on Instagram or TikTok that's dressed in a deer costume that was like the public land buck meets the private land buck. He's like, hey man, come on to your land. He's like, oh, I got it good over here. Like he gives me food. He doesn't shoot me. Everything's just great.
Yeah, I saw that one too. That was a good one.
Good one. Yeah, they got it good over there. So yeah, I suppose it makes sense if they can create the habitat to keep them. That's kind of what they're trying to do, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean,
good for you.
Bucks are still chasing does. I mean, that's not going to quit until after Christmas, even. So, if you have a population of does,
keep an
the
eye.
bucks are going to be hanging around there all the time, but they're going to come through and check.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think we're at about an hour in. You guys are still cutting up meat. No drives home for you tonight. That's got to be nice, fellas. Thanks for doing this, Billy.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Yeah. Cheers. What are you drinking, Derek? What do you got?
I got Kentucky something, some cheaper version of bourbon.
It's so good he doesn't remember. We call it no-name bourbon.
Blackout bourbon. Yeah. No, good episode. Thanks everybody for hanging in the comments and thanks for the call, Noah. Appreciate it. Next week, what is the date? What is the date next week? Do you know what the freaking date is?
The 5th. I think we have basement decorator on next week.
Yeah, we got Thomas on. That is next week. Okay, good to know. So yeah, y'all are in the studio next week. That'll be a fun episode. He's a fun guy.
Indeed.
Cool. I don't know much else. We still got our Cyber Monday, Black Friday stuff is running through until the end of the day tomorrow or tonight. I think it's the end of the day tomorrow. I don't really know. I should know, but it's the 29th. So take advantage of the 20% off, $25 free gift card on $100 orders or more. And coffee prices have just been reduced. And I think those orders should be working now. If you wanted to buy some coffee, like it's pretty damn good coffee. It's from Our Grounds Coffee out of PA area who does that for us. So it's pretty damn good stuff. We don't make it ourselves. That would be terrible coffee. I would never drink it. It'd be worse than like Folgers, I bet. Yeah. We'll get you guys some of that coffee too. Derek, you're a pretty harsh critic on coffee. I think.
I like the dark roast, man. That's where I'm at. I like the dark roast.
Cool. I'll get you some dark roast. You can try it out. Let me know what you think. It tastes like a dark roast deer camp coffee should taste. So Swamp Donkey, it's kind of fun.
I'm all about that. I just got to keep the toilet nearby.
Guaranteed to get things moving. Yeah, I got to pick up my Euro mount from our buddy Jeff. I think end of this week I'm gonna go grab that. I got a chance. Said to get that in. That should be here by the time you guys are in next week to take a gander at it.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, good stuff. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? I don't know. Am I missing something? No. Yes. Maybe.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, hang tight, guys. Hang here with me for a minute. I'm gonna end the live broadcast, and thanks for tuning in.
See ya.